Aloha, beautiful souls, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Marissa Indigo, and I am the founder and director over at Divine DNA Blueprint Mystery School online. This is a powerful transmission today for the new era. So, if you are new to my work, welcome. I'm so excited to receive you here. I serve as a bridge to the new earth paradigm. And there are a lot of different ways that we arrive at the new paradigm. So, today we are going to be sharing a full mastery empowerment course with you, and it was originally brought forth in January of 2024 to start to assist everyone with understanding just how drastic of a shift the new presence paradigm is when it comes to our functioning and our daily life. We're really transitioning quite strongly now without really any options but to get on board into the new paradigm, or as I'm calling it, the new presence paradigm, because it is requiring our presence in order to fully be aware of everything, aware of ourselves and all of the shifts and changes, and to bring forth our full consciousness here. So I serve as a bridge to New Earth. You could say the awakening journey, which is the very beginning of the stirrings of consciousness, that there is something more out there. Also going deeper into exiting all of the old paradigm and the linearity, the ascension process, right? Into the higher realms and living them here in our physical reality experience now. So, we are here to share with you all about your divine inheritance as a being of light here, having a physical experience, living in the new paradigm, living in the higher realms, 5D and above, right? And it takes a lot of diligence and patience and consciousness and self love in order to arrive at these higher realms in our daily reality experience. And so, beginning in 2024, we had a very monumental shift. All of a sudden, our realities and our daily world is more energetic. And this isn't exactly something that's going to be taught, right, or broadcast on mainstream media, right? It's through guides that are here to support you bridging into new dimensions of experience and what it really means to live and to be as a conscious being here on planet Earth, right, in an ascended reality. So 2024 was the beginning of this new era, which is requiring our full presence, why I'm calling it the new presence paradigm. And this is a 20-year span here of our acceleration of the evolution of our consciousness. And so 2024 kicked this off most powerfully, becoming the first year that we have experienced as a year of energy and information, and starting to perceive and live as energy, starting to go deeply into the deprogramming process. If this is new for you, one of the ways that we get into the higher realms within ourselves and create them, materialize them forth in the physical reality around us is through the deprogramming process, right? And so each of us has this innate gift and ability to create our own reality, right? But it has to be coming from our highest aligned place. Otherwise, we're creating unconsciously, and it can be quite nightmarish to continue to loop these old patterns and programs because we're not consciously taking charge of our journey as an energetic being having a physical experience. So, this master class is a 2-hour class. It's called The Keys, Codes, and Crossroads of the New Paradigm, and showing you through a variety of ways how to start to see yourself, your experience, your reality, your responsibility as energetic, and start to bring your conscious awareness even more into this now moment through a lot of different pathways. Some of what we are going to cover on this course, which is designed to assist you to thrive in this new paradigm and to understand just how different everything is. So, some examples: nothing's going to look like it did before. Right. And that can be very confusing and destabilizing. So, we are providing you with the energetic structure support to learn how to stabilize yourself every day, how to feel strong and secure and in your power and in your love and your grace, and feeling connected to your higher self every day in order to navigate your reality experience. Enjoy this new frequency of quantum mastery as conscious creator beings in action. We're going to share techniques, like I said, to stabilize yourself, find your center, and learn how to read subtle energy. So it is vital that we begin to understand that everything is energy and we have to learn how to read it. And the good news is you already know how. It just got buried with a lot of linear constructs, right? We just have to dust it off. So these are skills that are innate to your being that we're going to continue to uncover and show you how to connect and activate within yourself. We're going to explore the major planetary influences and guidance for your evolutionary ascension process. And we're also going to share how to navigate these powerful new frequencies and accelerated energies. So, in this Mastery Empowerment course, we're going to be talking about living and perceiving as an energetic being, the importance of learning from water as a metaphoric teacher, as a form of elemental shamanism for us to learn how to be more fluid in our experience, how to flow, how to go with the flow, and also learn when going with the flow and being passive is not appropriate or not aligned, geared to the individual scenarios with which we find ourselves. Also, in respect to others' journeys around us on the path, right? Because we're all in a different place a lot of the time. And so, this course is diving deeply into the energies of how to function from a quantum existence, which is a huge undertaking and it requires our full presence, hence the new presence paradigm. This is a 20-year span of time where we are deeply accelerating on our journey from 2024 to 2044. So, welcome to the material. I hope that you gain a lot of insight, wisdom, and starting to really understand quantum existence and how different it is from the old linear construct, right? It requires presence, a lot of deprogramming, a lot of compassion, and you want to also remember to have fun because this is quite a serious process of awakening and the ascension journey, right? And it is up to each of us to accomplish this for ourselves. And so each of us, as we acquire more knowledge and wisdom through experience, is then tasked with the responsibility to become a way shower and to share this information. So I welcome you to this material. You may want to have pen and paper to take notes. Again, this is a 2-hour master class. You're going to be learning a lot of really amazing revolutionary information. Learning how to navigate through the wave form is a beautiful teaching that we receive from our higher self wisdom on how to navigate this experience. And if you enjoy this Mastery Empowerment course, which is given to you as a gift to support you navigating this new paradigm now, this next 20-year massive cycle of the acceleration of consciousness for all of humanity. If you like my work, I have an entire online mystery school with a lot of other amazing courses. And so we start at the elementary level, the most basic level of existing in the physical reality and how to breathe and how to start navigating and seeing energy, working with prana, which is another word for energy, and going all the way into very advanced topics, exploring your starseed or galactic lineages and beyond. So if you really resonate with my work and would like to go deeper and you're feeling called to dive even more deeply into your journey, I also have a special offer for you here now in this new year, in this new paradigm. And it is the Awakening Our Divine DNA Blueprints Together community and membership portal. And so you have access to 30 plus courses for your mastery, for your awakening, for your ascension process from every level of the physical realization and the light body activations and everything in between. Also the crystal grids. So I offer this online membership portal. It's month to month. So that way, for a fraction of the cost of one course, you can access the entire library, the entire catalog of my work, which I am sharing through my own lived experience here, through the awakening journeys, the highs and the lows, all of the beauty, all of the distortion, all of it, right? Because we're here for this beautiful, full experience. So there is a lot of information and more gifts and opportunities for you on any of this in the description box below. So welcome. I'm so excited to have you here. Welcome to the new paradigm. Welcome to discovering even more about yourself to love and also to consciously surrender and release that you're ready to transcend and transmute and to accelerate your process now as a master here, just remembering we just forgot. So welcome to the course. Enjoy the information and I will see you soon for the next transmission. Namaste. Well, aloha, everyone, and welcome to this Mastery Empowerment course, Keys, Codes, and Crossroads of 2024. How amazing that we are here. And I just want to invite everyone here on live, here on the replay, before we dive into this expansive material, to just take a sacred pause and acknowledge yourself, to take a breath and feel yourself like, wow, I'm a soul having this incredible experience, so much newness coming in, and I get to be here right now for such an incredible time on planet Earth in service, whatever that looks like. We're just here to be beings of love, right? As simple or innate as you are called to express. So just want to honor each and every one of you. And just take a moment, take a breath here, and acknowledge yourself and say, thank you. I love you. Because this is where it's at. Okay, well, that was the course. We're done now. All right, just kidding. Here we go. So thank you so much, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here. We have a lot to discuss today, and guidance said to be sure to have plenty of time for questions. So what we can do, if you like, you can write your questions down as we go through the material. You can put them in the chat, and I'm not going to really look at the chat until after so that I can kind of stay on task with you all. And then we'll have plenty of time for discussion of how to apply this, or questions, things that are coming up right now, right? So we'll start with a little presence activation here and a couple other activations. We're going to kind of weave them into the content, and then we'll dive into more of the specifics of what we're going to cover. So I invite you, I'm going to have a sip of water. I always need to have plenty of water. And get comfortable, get cozy, and start to arrive. I'm inviting you to close your eyes. And we'll start with some lovely breaths to just gather ourselves and to fully land and arrive here. So inhaling in through the nose softly. Exhaling out through softly parted lips. And the reason we have that open mouth is that exhale really anchors you. You can really feel yourself just whoop, start to arrive. So inhaling in through the nose. Exhaling out through softly parted lips. And again, inhaling in through the nose. Exhaling through softly parted lips, bringing through the waterfall energy. And as we continue this breath here, this is an infinity loop breath. And how fitting for the year of the infinite expansion, infinite potential. So I invite you, as you're breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth, to start to visualize yourself in the very center line of a horizontal figure eight that's flowing left center, right center, left center, right center. And I'm in the middle of that, inhaling in through the nose, exhaling out through softly parted lips, going more and more deeply into center. Feeling your seat beneath you, really feeling yourself arriving from the skin in. And then we're going to call forth a violet flame. Beautiful holy fire Reiki energy now, kind of starting to circulate, spiraling at our feet, and gently spiraling clockwise, up, 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 and through the entire body, assisting us to just burn out any distractions and expand this now moment together. So just allowing that beautiful, soft, violet fire to illuminate you, inspire, cleanse out, assist with the distraction energy, the overthinking, any of the potential battle programs inside. We're going to get into that today. Stuff between head and heart kind of thing. I'm starting to feel just the joy and the gratitude of being here. Regardless of the quality of the experience in this now, it's a gift to be here and all is present with us. And I want to now imagining ourselves as a class collectively here encircled. We're in a beautiful circle of sapphire blue lightning, electric blue lightning in this circle, seeing yourself in the center of the circle, the point of creation within the 0 point. And then I invite you now to see yourself as a beautiful column of light, a pillar of light that you are, seeing yourself sitting here and seeing how, wow, sitting here, walking around on this planet, I am a shaft of light of an infinite length extending up into the heavens, into source, and also down through the body and down through the center of the earth. And so just starting to see yourself as no matter what position I'm in, I'm a vertical column of light connecting, a trinitized beingness, and calling in here all of our guardians, guardian angels, ascended masters, ancestors here to assist us, the elementals, star family, and the invitation now to bring your attention into your root and to bring the most beautiful ruby ray coloring there, vibrant ruby into that root to nourish the root chakra. And seeing some little flecks of kind of rainbow chips in there. If you see crystals, sometimes they call it the cat's eye. It looks like a little cat's eye rainbow in the crystal. So seeing this ruby ray with all these little rainbow chips inside in your root, assisting your root to cleanse, to purify, to illuminate yourself in love, hugging the inner child. And now seeing our beautiful roots start to turn and open down towards the earth and starting to connect, asking Mother Earth, Gaia, Sophia, Terra Nova, the new Earth crystalline star planet, which we are a part of, and came here to midwife, to foster, to steward for the generations to come. Starting to send our roots down, asking her to receive our ground trunk. And so sending our roots down now through the layers of our room, down, down, down through the layers of sacred earth. And first, to remember to connect with the essence qualities of Earth herself, physicality, the gift of us having the body, and to allow ourselves to acknowledge the truth that the body, the temple that we live in, this beautiful starship, really, spacesuit, is a gift from Gaia herself. We are made of her, with her. So there's this beautiful kind of infinite connection. If we start to bring attention and awareness to that, it's like, oh, I feel that connection. And then that starts to help me to feel more grounded and stable at this time with so much energy and movement. So continuing to send our roots down now even more deeply through the layers, starting to see the other root ball systems of beautiful tree networks. Going down even more deeply and seeing the beautiful aquifers and the inner waterfalls and ravines of crystalline waters of inner earth, opening those agatha templates there. Going down even more deeply, seeing the crystal beds beneath us. And some of these crystals, these master crystals are, gosh, the size of refrigerators and cars and buildings, connecting in with that consciousness that's at least 250 million years old when we think about some of the crystalline structures. Connecting even more deeply now, rooting even more deeply until we finally come to the heart core of Mother Earth herself, which is a massive heart-shaped diamond, miles tall, miles wide. And we're going to wrap our roots 3 times, 1, 2, 3, around her center and pull snugly. And if you want to kind of entrain the nervous system with this memory to install it in your architecture, you can do gentle fists, just a gentle clasping of the hands. And feel that gentle gripping sensation. It's quite calming and grounding. And we invite you to just say, so it is, that this is grounded into you so that you can feel like, oh, all I have to do is bring my attention to my root, connect with Gaia, and bam, all of a sudden I'm grounded, I'm stabilized, helping me to stay calm. And this is part of the tree activation, which we'll do another version of that as well. But it's very important at this time that we have kind of this beautiful anchor to the planet to feel connected and anchored and stabilized, that there is a connection point. We're not just going to float off and away. It's important to bring that level of stability and comfort and self-soothing to the self, sometimes on a daily basis right now with these energies being so fast. So enjoying this space. And now bringing your attention into your heart center and seeing this bridge opening up through the heart center. And this is the bridge to new earth. We enter through the heart to bridge into that new paradigm. And so a lot of what we're going to cover today is bridging the heavenly realms that are within our hearts, learning how to trust that path. And so just intending that you're walking through the heart space into the bridge of new earth here. And we're going to share a little bit about this 0 point reality and what we've received on how to maintain it. It's quite rigorous, but ultimately so lovely and so full of love and kindness for us. It's just wonderful. So I invite you to stay with your eyes closed and just whatever impressions you receive. 0 point reality. So right now we have Pluto in Aquarius for 33 days at 0 degrees. That 0 point is going to be a big part of our experience for several more weeks here. A total of 33 days. Interesting number, isn't it? 33 days at 0 degrees. This incredible planet of transformation coming into our new state of expression as a being, our place within the collective and as an individual. So finding that balance. So the new paradigm and the new era is all about the art of receptivity. As easy as breath, that's what we want to try to assist you in remembering as we are shown every day. Sometimes it's hard to remember with what we're going through or clearing. But the breath is an infinite cycle that is completely natural to us. I inhale and I exhale. And if that can be enough to take you back to this place, let it be so. That it is indefinitely part of our divine nature, of the infinity and the art of receptivity. So 2024, this number 8, the infinity, this is an equal measure kind of equation. Balance, give and take or receive. Breathe in, breathe out. Expansion and contraction. Standing in the center of the infinity loop. And when you see this infinity loop with the line going down the center of it, which is you, your column of light, you can also imagine this as the dragonfly. The dragonfly is a wonderful example of infinity and the directions, the possibilities, flying forwards, backwards, upside down, which is important for us to remember to bring the new, the expanded state of awareness to all new things. If there's one takeaway from this class, what we are told is, hey, it may all look the same. Nothing is the same. We are not the same. And we must remember to bring that freshness. So the middle path, right? The middle way, as the Buddha called it. This is Christ consciousness or Buddha consciousness, the enlightened mind, centered and peaceful, your natural state of being. The new era is all about finding that balance with what you were born into and the old story, which we call the first life. And now this is the second birth right now that's happening, who we came to be. And we get to choose who we be, which is wonderful and very empowering and can feel like a lot sometimes. So what does New Earth feel like to you, we ask? What does New Earth feel like for you? And we start to expand the concentric circles. So you and your immediate soul, your creativity, then your relationships and family, nuclear human family, community. So continuing to expand until it's to a global level. What does New Earth feel like as a new paradigm for all of humanity? And all of humanity is scheduled, so to speak, to be there in about 100 years. But those of us who understand this frequency can live it now to support the anchoring, the seeding for the future generations. And so what does it feel like? The big piece is starting to claim I belong as a heart-centered being and starting to explore, where do I belong? What does that mean to belong? So many of us have felt like the black sheep or on the fringe, all of these things, because we were always referencing the outside. And this is the beautiful key code of Aquarius is the individual and being really unique and loving yourself unconditionally and being a part of something as well, a part of a collective. So there's a symbiotic relationship that must be in balance. We don't give too much credence to the outside, seeking the validation through the outside. All must come from within now. So within our loving hearts, where do we belong? And some examples of this I'll share as I've been exploring this concept because it's assisting us to see through heart-centered being, where do I belong in my heart? Oh, I belong in a place of feeling peaceful and lovely and soft. That feels so good. And when I think of others in my life or who I collaborate with, I belong with others who are kind. That's the only rule, if you want to say rule. Kindness, openness, right? Communication. So starting to see, where do I belong? What does the frequency feel like? And that continues to expand. We share the 4 categories of life, of the human experience to assist us in kind of getting a rein on all this energy is, your health. Where do you belong with your health and your physical being and emotional being, mental, all the bodies? And so every day you want to take an inventory. How's my emotional body, physical body, psychic or energetic body, spiritual body today, my energy in general? And then our abundance, realizing, wow, I can be a being of love and express myself as a being of love. And it doesn't matter if no one else gets it because I'm being my authentic self. And it makes me feel so alive. I've never felt so alive in my life. And as this is new, and sometimes it can kick up programming from the root and it's scary a little bit because it's new, we're going to go to the opposite of the zodiac wheel of Aquarius, which is Leo, the lion heart, the lion's roar, the courage, the pack as well, knowing that we have tribe here. We're not alone. And that we can just love and be a being of love and show others how to liberate themselves from the shackles of the old paradigm, the constriction, the tension, right? Being in boxes. Boxes, we erase them. They don't exist anymore. So the abundance sector there. Also career or expression, creative vocation, and your relationships. So you want to, use this metaphor. Where do we belong in our hearts? And you can start with these kind of sections as a map. And just celebrating that we finally feel like we belong. This frequency is here, that we are unconditionally loved and amazing and brilliant, and everyone has their own genius. And there are many different ways that this will come out. And there will be new ways. There will be ways you denied, which caused grief and suffering. Forgive yourself for not trusting the inklings of the heart. This is a new language. We're going from linear to quantum. It's a big deal. And it's amazing. And you're doing it. So you want to continue to soothe yourself, work with Divine Mother, be like the tree. When it's a lot going on, there's a lot of change. What does change do? Oh my. It stimulates the vagus nerve. It can kick on trauma patterning depending on your experience in the first life. Have compassion. Declare what you feel. Today we have the moon in Scorpio, which is very powerful, and it's actually in contrast, a square to the sun. So the moon, our subconscious, our emotions, is squaring the sun, our soul, our identity. So there could be some kind of headbutton going on inside of, trying to balance. How do I express myself and da da da. And you want to just declare it, it's very powerful. Find a safe place and release by speaking. Use the winds, the instrument of the throat, to speak. I'm feeling this. I have fear of this. Da da. It's all programs. Just let it come up and out of your being and say, oh, thank you so much. I feel emptied now. Wonderful. And now I can be a receptacle. Whenever you don't feel like you belong, or whenever you don't feel your peace, or whenever you don't feel the pure divine love, it's time to connect again. This is the job. This is our new job, everyone. And the other day, Universe said, imagine for everybody, yourself included, you're supported to ascend, and that's your job. And it comes through in all kinds of ways. We show up and share love with everyone in our reality, consciousness with everyone in our reality. And we're fully supported by the divine in that. Wow, that's very opposite of the old ways, is it not? So yeah, that's going to bring up some stuff. It's okay. We have to love ourselves through this. Another big piece is, how do we treat ourselves in crisis? Which we know, yes, intellectually, yes, it's a program. Yes, it's an illusion. Yes, it will pass. But do we abandon ourselves and neglect ourselves in times of need? And so it's really important to give yourself that love walking through this path. And that's why the heart is the bridge. Come back to that place. Tap in. This love is all around. When we get segmented off in the mind and the heart shuts down, which it can happen, the heart closes. We are learning how to live with an open heart 24/7. It's a lot, it's new. When we shut down, you'll feel the difference. You feel like you're going upstream, you get frustrated. And so, okay, let me open the heart again. Let me come back home again. The home frequency is what we are developing in this new paradigm. Build your etheric containers and gift bags to start to open up to receive. When we talk about the receptive nature, being the frequency, giving ourselves what we need to become the frequency to receive. Divine frequencies of pure unconditional love from Source. Learning to calibrate into greater and greater receptivity. And so I invite you to see, what does your container look like for love? Is it a tiny little thimble? What does your container look like for wealth? Is it a little cup? Maybe there's some cracks in the cup. And just play with that imagery, saying, oh, I can make it as large as I feel comfortable with, and then I can make it bigger than that when I get comfortable with that. There's a huge karmic redistribution of resources for those that are karmically aligned with the higher frequencies. That's going to continue. So it starts with self-love and a devotion, a commitment to feeling good, to finding your alignment, and committing to being our best friend. I know for me personally, I didn't know how to be my best friend with others for so long. Now we are our best friend with ourselves and with others in all situations. So just kindly advocating for yourself. It's like, oh, I'm not available to do that. Or I am, I'm so excited. But being your own best friend, it's your soul. And this is a beautiful balance where we're able to start to create the balance, rewriting from the inside out, maybe where we didn't receive enough, of something in our first life, right? So there's a lot of reparenting with this as well. So you'll see the inner magical, divine, sacred child, which does have some wounding, part of what we signed up for to expand. We wouldn't know love if we didn't experience otherwise, but there is a lot of reparenting in this. So we come back to the I am presence. I am the I am. Finding that state of neutrality in the center. And so the question that the universe has for us are quite blunt, as Aquarius deals with Uranus energy of sky god, source consciousness, very electrifying energy, revolutionary, somewhat rebellious as well. And Saturn, earthly, karma, divine timing, discipline, kind of more of the Jedi energy. And so the questions coming through here, do you start your day with practices dedicated to assist you in aligning with your higher self or higher frequencies, creating a state of heaven on earth, bliss and paradise, feeling happy, content, grateful, soft, and open? A wonderful way to start to begin this practice, if you're looking for a new one, is just have a list of positive aspects, all the things you're grateful for. And let's say you have a difficult relationship with somebody that you love, you care about them, they're on a different trajectory right now. And maybe you butt heads a lot or something. Maybe there's power struggles. Pluto's all about finding the new power, the power of the heart versus the old way, ego power, right? And so you could appreciate, let's say you have a really hard time with them, they're not a good communicator and they're always combative and they put you down or whatever it is. Hopefully they're not putting you down and they're in your reality. But let's say you just find something to appreciate, like, wow, this person has such amazing style, or this person has such a way with when they make this beautiful meal. Find stuff to appreciate about those that trigger you the most. And it's very supportive because it's showing you what you have inside. It's huge. Everything's a mirror. So anytime you get thrown off or feel thrown off, the question is, what is your protocol to return to the home frequency of the paradise? Do you prioritize your alignment with your home frequency all day? That brings us into time. For the longest time, I say, oh gosh, I'm a single parent. I don't have time for myself or my body, any of it. Well, suffer the consequences of that belief. And then we learn, oh, that was all an illusion. Time is not what we learned in the old paradigm. It's not 9 to 5. Time is energy and light. And the more that I value myself, the more time slows down for me to work with me. And that's where Saturn comes in to support you. If you commit to expanding your perceptions, Saturn will support you to expand time and come into quantum time, which is at 0 point again. So everything kind of circles and spirals back into itself. So that being said, we'll get into a little bit more of the linear, so to speak, kind of linear, but not really, information. And you're welcome to have your eyes closed the whole time, or if you want to get into notes, you're welcome. We'll start with some numerology now and go into what I said we would cover. Hmm. So this is cool. We're on the 2-2 today. Welcome, everyone. And I didn't know it was Groundhog's Day. Now that's hysterical. The universe has such a good sense of humor because Groundhog's Day is like, it's almost like, you think of the movie, with Bill Murray, and it's like a looping, right? There's an unconscious looping of the same old, same old. And there's a comfort in that stability and reliability, but also not, because it's not fulfilling. So what an amazing symbol for today, and just in general for the new era, right? That everything is new. And so this two, we want to talk about the codes of two. February is going to be a really big month. November, December, January, we were still kind of in this chrysalis phase of a divine sacred remembering, a rebirth, a lot of Christed consciousness coming through, very tender and internal. Um, Going through root chakra stuff, what's no longer fitting, what's no longer serving my evolution. And February and the number two is a divine union. You could think of the Roman numerals too. It's two lines, in a parallel line. So there's a ping-ponging kind of thing going on between those two lines as well. There's also a mirroring, the mirror verse, right? So we're going to see in this month an expedited experience of, oh, wow, what is within me is getting really like it's showing up outside all the time, for better or for challenging, whatever, serves you in the moment. There's a huge purification happening. And with February, we have Aquarius, right? Then the end of February and about the 22nd, 21st or so in there, we're going to shift into Pisces. And so this month of February and into March, all about past life stuff. And you're going to notice what's really fascinating with the Aquarian energies. Aquarius is a very fascinating sign because it is dual in nature. Like we said, there's Uranus, which is that sky god energy, lightning bolts of innovative, creative idea, can also be explosive, God consciousness. The light just, obliterates, delusion and lack of truth and things like that. But then we have this grounded divine timing, steady as you go, build piece by piece, a patience with Saturn. And there's this expansive potential. There's this, with Uranus, there's the extraneous, there's the extraterrestrial information. And so that's where the technology piece comes in. You're going to see a split now when we talk about that too again. On the higher levels, it's about divine union with ourself, our soul, our best friend, starting to really live from the heart space. And we have to honor that there may be some splits in the timelines with others who are exploring power not for heart's sake, but power for power's sake. That's emblematic of the old paradigm. The corporate structures, right? They rob the earth of resources and then they turn it for a profit, and we're paying way too much for it. No free resources, all of this, it's all about money. Like, that's very interesting, but it's service to self versus service to others and a more holistic way of working. So it's going to be interesting because Aquarius has that dichotomy of people are going to be even more drawn to explore power in their own way. And there's no judgment with that. Every soul signs up for their own kind of thing. Some people are going to go more the technological route, and some people are going to go more the light body technology route, and organic technology, the technology of elementals, the technology of fairies, and those are interesting phrases, but there's a divine matrix where everything works together in harmony. You can learn from everything, so there's interesting things that are going to continue. But with the Aquarian energy, there's this expansion to take in so much more information. And that's where the past lives comes in. So what I'm trying to share is you could be having an experience where you're witnessing an old program. And I'm trying to remember one that I've got. Okay, here's one that I've got. Okay. So a few weeks ago, I had an amazingly fabulous, gnarly at first, because they always are, trigger, thanks to Pluto, with the medical system. Now, I had a childhood of autoimmune disorders, hospitalizations, surgeries, scars, being a medical experiment because of my own genetics. And there's trauma with that. It still comes up every once in a while. Oh, there's my inner child. She needs some more support. That memory is coming up. Okay. But what happened was I was able to see it even further and connect it on a galactic level to those of us involved in genetic experiments, off world, other timelines. And it's like, oh my God. And so with this expansion of Pluto and Aquarius, we're going to start to see a bleed through of the connection of things. It's a lot of information. It's wonderful. We're going to have more clear sight than we've ever had, but it's a lot of information. So just know February is going to be an even larger expansion of looking at, the DNA epochs, right? All of your lineage in there. And that's where that too comes in, is you may have these mirror refracted experiences. So an example of this is, oh, I'm so nervous for this person to go through this. And you think it's about them because that's the only way your consciousness can show you what's within. You can't see it because it's subconscious. So you think it's about the other in a mirror, but it's actually showing you where you still have an attachment to this story and you're projecting it onto that person. It gets a little complicated, but that's some of the quantum mechanics, that mirror verse with the two. And so it's always to just come back into the heart and ask, show me, what are you trying to share with me with this? What am I feeling? And often the information starts with the feeling first, and then you'll start to have visuals or memories of different experiences. And the key is to hold yourself in divine love, and you can call on Divine Mother Sophia to be with you, to assist you through these processes, to be tender, because we are just essentially removing all the old wiring. That's a big demolition job, but at the same time, rebuilding is happening. And so you want to make sure you're that too, where you're going through something really intense and it's uncomfortable and you don't like it, but you don't want to repress it anymore, right? And bringing in the love to balance that process. And so Pluto is all about the repressed stuff. It can be anger, it can be abuse that happened, rage and resentment, betrayal, abandonment, neglect. These are really, really vulnerable, raw core wounds where we will feel raw. And when you feel that rawness, like we just had that this week again, another wonderful round with Pluto. It's like, oh my God, again, it's a lot. So make sure you give yourself space and ask your universe, if you're working with expanding time, say, look, I need your assistance to expand time for myself to prioritize this part of my journey, so you can have time alone, time in nature, or reach out for support, of course, but just allowing spaciousness to be part of your life now. No more like bam, 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 this to that thing and the to-do list, and then I'm going to do this. And then you notice how outwardly driven that is. And so we want to have a balance between being within in a reflective space, the sacred mystic in your cave of your heart with your soul, plenty of time for listening, and then doing the external stuff too with family, friends, and work and all the things, right? So that's a little bit about the two. Divine reunion with soul, living as divinity. And the more that you commit to that and the more that you embody light, well, for a while, there's going to be these cycles of things coming up. And it does get less intense with time because you got this and you have the infrastructure to do the clearing. Also, know part of the mirror is sure, there may be a little piece of that program, that trigger, that challenge that's yours, but collective too. Part of that midwifery, is that we are assisting the heart opening of the entire collective here. So we could be feeling what they're feeling. You could be in your Zen space and then all of a sudden you're feeling some grief and you're like, gosh, where's this coming from? And it's some of the things playing out on the world stage, as people are learning to feel and becoming feelers again, depending on their level of consciousness, some of the first things we feel are the hardest to feel, the most uncomfortable, that we want to run away. And that's what makes it part of the challenge of the incarnation of the great forgetting is like, oh, trust me, everyone here, no matter how conscious they are, everyone came for the most like hardcore, amazing lesson and awakening process, or we'd be bored to death. Everyone here is a master, whether or not they remember or where they are in their remembering. It's all good. It's all God. um, but yeah, we came here to really see a lot and to just bring love into all of it with ourselves, to walk in love as divinity, as angels, as earth angels. I have a wonderful transmission I shared on my YouTube channel of the Hume Angels. So we take human and angels and put it together. Hume Angels, and just random acts of kindness, how we show up. You may find your universe presenting you with opportunities. It's almost like tests, although we don't really like to say that word anymore. But just opportunities for expansion, opportunities to be of loving service. You see something, if it's brought to your awareness, you're the one that's supposed to do it. See something, take care of it, And that's part of that empowerment, that sovereignty of being builders of new earth. So I'll share an example. We have an aquifer downtown where I go get water. And about a month ago, I went there and it was iced over. And we had all of these seniors walking up with their jugs, and it's iced. And I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. And so I filled my bottles and I thought, I've got salt at home. I got to go get the salt, and it's not a big deal. It's 5 minutes from my house. So I go, I get the box of salt. I put a whole box of salt around And this sweet older man was like, "Oh, thank you. You just saved us, probably one of us, from getting a titanium hip," and we're laughing, having a good time. But, and it's not about the thanks. It's just seeing something that can be, where can I step up? Another example is when I relocated from Southern California to Washington State. We had a moving company, and the man that was in charge like organizing the whole thing, he wasn't the one doing the physical labor. And he had an elitist attitude and a classist attitude and also some racism towards the laborers. And he was treating them really badly. And I'm always that person. It was in the summer, I'm like, "Oh, would you like some water? Like, how can I take care of you?" These men had never had anyone be kind to them before. So then they felt like they could entrust me with information. And they said, "We've never told anyone this, but this guy steals our pay. We're supposed to be paid this much and we don't get all of it." And I was just like, so all of a sudden, just by being kind to someone, you become their safe person, and then you can actually be a catalyst for something greater. So I was quite upset by that information. And I thought, what should I do?" And I said, "Okay, universe, what do I do with this information?" Universe said, "Call the company, talk to the moving company." So I did. I called the moving company and I spoke to the coordinator, and she was horrified that that man was doing that, and they remedied the situation. So just living our lives, doing whatever we're doing, no matter how mundane, none of it's mundane anymore. And that's why we try to say, it looks the same, but it's not, because there are opportunities to show up, serve, be the difference in the most simple ways. It doesn't even take anything from you. It doesn't even cost you anything. It's advocating for yourself and others, right? Where you see something that is not right in a way. So that's more about 2. And now we'll get into 8. Wow, so the 8. What an amazing year. 8 is all about abundance, empowerment. It really fits in with that Pluto, because with Pluto, we are learning all new ways of power. What is pure power? What is power for heart's sake, for love, which is the true power? You see how different that is from the examples that we see out there, right? Where they have really big marketing budgets trying to show us what power is. And the old paradigm, it's domination and control and constriction. It's not love, and it's power for power's sake. It's power that is self-serving the organization, the corporation, not even taking care of the people who work in that company, let alone whatever they're mining or whatever they're doing. So the 8 is a new form of power, and that's what Pluto is bringing up right now. So what's interesting is Pluto went into Aquarius um, on the 21st of January. We have 33 days with it being at 0 degrees. And so until about the 22nd of February, this is your opportunity to get into the 0 point and really have a huge portal available to sit with and to ask and to journal. What are more ways for me to tune into power? What does power mean to me? Now, me personally, I grew up in a very abusive household, so I shied away from power. And then you see it reflected in society, that it's like, oh my God, this is so like selfish, and it's not about anyone else, so I don't want anything to do with it. I could not resonate less, with this. And it's like, oh, well, that was never power. That was a facade. It's like, oh, they have to be the loudest to show you what they got. And it's kind of like Wizard of Oz, like, don't go behind the curtain, kind of thing. So it's based on nothing, nothing of actual structure or standing or sustainability, which we're seeing now as things collapse. So what does power mean to you? And with that, for instance, let's say, way showers, most way showers have a very humble salary. So it's like, okay, so if we want to build our abundance and our positive experience with finances, what does financial abundance mean? Freedom, freedom, freedom. So we want to start to expand. What does power mean to you? Also, the power to choose, the power to choose each day who you be. And sometimes maybe you have a challenge or a trigger. So a couple hours after you made that, declaration that day, comes up again, another opportunity again to declare, right? So we'll have a lot of so-called tests until we have more of a basic foundation or the light quotient built inside where we don't waver from it. So anytime you have some doubts or some ripples, wobble of self-doubt, you'll get a nice opportunity to say, no, no, that is true for me now, or that is no longer true for me. Thank you. You know? And so one of the things with this 8, this infinite flow, the in-breath and the out-breath, it's all part of who we are, is that life is the mystery school. Your life is your mystery school. Every opportunity, that horribly rude person riding your butt on the freeway, everything, right? Everything is your opportunity. And so if you can start to expand to have that open heart and that grateful heart of like, everything is here actually for me. And that's part of that new power dynamic too, right? The old way was feeling victimized or separate. And now we realize, oh, I'm, this unity consciousness. And so the universe is here for me. And with that 8, it's really about the more you're willing to put in and the more love you're willing to gift yourself every day, you're going to see it. Everything you do or think, you're going to see it. If you think a thought that doesn't feel good, you're going to notice like, oh, that doesn't feel good. And I actually feel like that's draining me. Or if you're overthinking, if you're too cerebral now, you're going to notice like, oh my God, this is exhausting, because we're trying to calculate and figure it all out like we did in the olden days. And for those of us that are very cerebral, and your astrology will assist you too, um, it's all about, remember now, because Aquarius is so mental and can be cold, going across to the Leo, to the sun, to the heart again. So always bringing it back down and noticing, oh, if I perceive, it's a lot less tiring than thinking it through, because it's more, I'm getting more information rather than trying to hunt for things, and pick apart things. It's exhausting to function like that. You're going to find that. And so this 8 is infinite abundance, empowerment. It's really good for business. It's just incredible. This is the best year of our lives. We haven't had a year like this. It's so full of gifts and opportunities. And it also is intense as we're encountering things like power structures, power dynamics within ourselves, with society at large. There's going to be shifts and changes. What does change do? It actually is scary for us. I had a couple weeks ago where I was like, man, what's my problem? I'm like, oh gosh, my inner child is actually kind of scared of this change. This is an older core wound from early imprinting, because change in the oldest those days, where you're moving around and it was stressful. And so it's like, oh yeah, I see that, so it's okay. Self-soothing, loving yourself. I do a lot of this where I'm just like, oh, where I'm just gently touching my throat and my higher heart and my heart, and just, oh yeah, and just soothing. Also weighted blankets at night or when you like to nap or meditate, the weight will help weigh you down. So you feel like, okay, I can release the tension. Because we have to understand that on another level, a biological level that we're not consciously aware of until later, we catch ourselves holding our breath, right? Or we feel nervous, or something unpleasant is going on. We feel tension in the body. Change and all of this new energy is constantly hitting the nervous system. And we're not even talking about the photonic light from the sun and the solar increases that will continue as well. So you want to give yourself lots of nurturing and kindness and the self-soothing, the be like a tree. When it feels too much, you notice, oh my gosh, I'm just spinning in all of this. Wow. Oh my God. I don't even know where to go right now. I don't even know where to start. Just stop, put it down, and just come into the center, come into your root. And the best thing, if you can, go be with a tree. If you can't, I've got wonderful videos to take you on forest baths with the trees, but find some photography of trees, something like an activation to assist you. And I'm going to share with you now, since we went into some of this information, which can feel like, let's do a little activation here of be like the tree. And the tree people are some of my most favorite people on earth. When I was still too terrified to trust other humans, which had to do with trusting myself to attract loving, kind humans. Big one. There's another mirror. The tree people were my favorite, and they still are. So I invite you now, we'll just pause for a minute, have a sip of water if you like, and close your eyes. And I invite you to kind of look out with your eyes closed, look out through your forehead, opening that third eye, and invite in your favorite tree friend, maybe someone you met on a journey or a trip, or someone in your backyard. Find your favorite tree person rainbow eucalyptus or a sycamore, or a cedar, or oak, rambling oak, a maple. Find your favorite tree and start to observe the trunk of the tree and how there's a beautiful stability there. There's some form and structure that is definitely stabilized. And start to take your vision down the trunk of the tree, starting to look down where it's connecting in with the earth. And maybe you can see some of the roots kind of peeking out. If you see those beautiful banyan trees, oh, love those. And you can see their roots. Now I invite you to turn on your X-ray vision to start to see through that first few layers of topsoil and see the roots. And starting to see the roots and see, oh my goodness, this tree actually is deceptive in a way because the root system is massive horizontally and vertically. And that's what you want to do. You want to anchor in your root and you want to spread your roots horizontally and vertically down, down, down to connect with the heart of Gaia, wrapping your roots 3 times around her heart core and pulling snugly. And then feeling the energetic exchange of that love and that support, the resources, seeing an emerald ray of light, a liquid river of emerald coming up through her roots, through your tree trunk. And now we go upwards with that energy. So we have built an incredible foundation, feeling your roots, feeling like, wow, yeah, I'm so stabilized. I'm so rooted in here. And then we're going to take that energetic focus in your mind's eye now up the tree trunk now, up and up and up. And so we start to come into the branches. And where those branches are and the leaves is this levity feeling of reaching up towards the sun, right? Towards the light, towards the heavens. But there's some flexibility there. So the winds come and there's some lovely movement there gently in the tops of the trees. So you find, look at all these energetics we have going on at once. We are grounded, stabilized, firmly supported and rooted. Stillness at the base. And then we are reaching, embracing, bringing in the levity to reach for the heavens in this ascension, that upward energy now. So it starts with vertical down, and now we're going up. And there's some gentle movement, some swaying sometimes. And so you see this contrast of stillness and some movement and flexibility. And then we hear that expression, the mystics in the East will say, be like bamboo, bend so you don't break. That's what the tops of the trees do. Meanwhile, while they're doing all of these things, they're converting crystalline plasma light into sugar, into life force energy, into the atomic life force. So this is like us. And you notice how, oh my gosh, yeah, we are the standing, walking. So they call the tree people, the natives call the trees the standing people. So we are like them, but we get to walk around. Another wonderful visual to assist you in feeling kind of compartmentalized, for lack of better phrasing. If you start to feel like you're dissolving, you're too spatial, it's too much, see yourself as a beautiful flower. So I want you to imagine your favorite flowers right now. Maybe it's a sunflower or some exotic orchids, roses. And I want you to see yourself as this beautiful, beautiful flower. See what colors it is. And then seeing the stems going down into the soil, and you're in a beautiful flower pot. And you can imagine yourself in this flower pot all the time. So when you're out in public, even when you're traveling, this is a way of containing your energy within yourself, in your being. And it's also a really wonderful, powerful way to have more of an energetic boundaries, because some of us are so empathetic. You're around other people and then you're like taking in all their stuff and their information, and it's confusing, right? So this is a way to contain yourself. We want to stabilize and contain and bathe in our own essence and to be sovereign within ourselves. Nothing else is kind of coming in to influence, if you will. Beautiful. So when you're ready, you can open your eyes again. Okay, perceiving and living is energy. Woohoo! Wow. All right. Now we're going to get into a different thing. We're going to start talking about the wave form and living as a wave form, because we know at a quantum mechanics level, this looks solid, but it's really not. Everything's spinning so fast, it looks solid. Imagine yourself like a screen. That's probably the best visual I can think of, like a screen in the window or a screen door. You're a screen, you're like a sieve. And you have your home frequency that you feel you're building your relationship to as a being of love, as a being of peace, and your own unique expression. So you have your wave that you're being out and about. Then you also are feeling waves coming through you of information. That's the planetary conversations happening. And they start to land in these parts of us, ping, ping, and they're picking up things. They're assisting us. Oh, look, you have a reaction with this. Oh, look, there's a discordant with this. Oh, look, there's a harmonic with this. And so all of a sudden you realize why our bodies go through so much in the ascension process and our nervous systems, because our fields go out into infinity. So we are receiving waves of information coming through this screen of our being. And you'll see where they land, or they get stuck, or they just pass on through, depending on what it is, or they inspire us, or they assist us in a contraction and expansion state of witnessing a program. So if you start to look at everything as waveforms of information, you want to let things pass through you. So it's like, see yourself at the beach and you're standing maybe, about, let's say, between maybe calf length deep in the water. And the waves just keep coming and they flow through you, right? They flow through you and they go around you. And you're standing there and you're feeling it. And some of them you have to take a step back because they're big and you have to stabilize yourself, right? And that's where the tree can assist. Also, the Tai Chi Gong practice, that free practice, will sensitize you even more to perceiving energy, even more. So waves come through in encounters with others, conversations, right? World events, all the cosmic stuff. When you're in forest bathing, you're receiving, and that's so cleansing and purifying. And so the invitation here is to ask the mind to just shh, 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 and perceive the wave through the heart. What's here? What's happening right now? What is this? What's going on right now? Let the information pass through you and receive. This is another layer of the art of receptivity. Rather than projecting, oh, this person's doing this and this, it's going to go this way and this is what's happening. Put all that down. 0 point beginner's mind, completely open, don't know anything, beginner's mind. Curiosity of a child, open, soft heart, living your divinity, perceiving, receiving. So you want to let the information come through you to then discern, dissect, and digest the vibration. And then you feel how to respond. Sometimes there's a reaction coming up, which isn't an appropriate response. So you want to deal first, right? You want to go through that and see, what is this, so that then we can bring in the higher self, right, with all of it and balance it out before proceeding. So maybe someone's challenged and they're in a bad mood, they're funky, and their ego stimulates your ego. Well, you don't want to respond that way. You want to take a moment, give yourself a timeout and see, wow, look what's coming up. Wow, okay, what's the illusion here? What's the teaching here? So take time, give yourself that time and space. We're so programmed to like, oh, respond right away. We have a lot of that button pushing kind of stuff, especially with how the technology is right now with all the notifications and stuff. So honestly, I turn all that off. I don't even have text message notifications. I'll just check them every few hours, Free yourself of more and more and more leashes and allow yourself to expand time. You have time and space to respond, even if you need a day. Something really throws you for a loop. Okay, you take whatever you need to come back before you can respond with ability. I love that Wayne Dyer would say that. He would assist us to reframe responsibility because it always sounds like, oh, the drudgery, But it's no, it's your empowerment. It's your opportunity to respond with ability to something or someone and be the light leader in the situation too, and show others how they are that as well, right? We're mirroring. So this initiates our divine gifts as being the sacred feelers. And we become very astute with reading vibration. And you all know, you go into a room and you're like, oh, I can read the vibe of the room. Ooh, that's not for me. That's another way to play with the belonging, And so I had a decision to make about, oh, do I want to pursue this business? Well, the farmer's market is so amazing and it's so lovely, but man, the people that operate that thing are really kind of curmudgeonly. Okay, well, I that's a role I do sometimes. I come in and I light up a space to inspire. But is that aligned for me right now? Can I energetically handle that, or is that going to wear me out? Because we're in the physical ascension process. It's very exhausting a lot of the time. We're tired a lot. So then you're looking at all these pieces. Oh, that's actually not energetically appropriate for me to put myself in that place. So how can I still show up with that role in other ways that don't take? And so there's that 8 again, finding that balance of give and take, right? In all things. So you're going to start to notice that more with relationships and all kinds of things. But we're starting to trust our emotions, that we're vibrational beings, and emotions are, energy and movement. And we're a part of it. We're actually in this incredible plasma ocean all the time. And so it's very interesting. And so we're playing now with our form and our perception, and the shamanic stuff. We call this shape shifting, So sometimes I'm a tree, sometimes I'm the waveform, sometimes I'm the mist, or a stone or a mountain. So playing with the elementals, play with the elements as well. Feel their energies and how they're so different. Feel your crystals, oh, look at these different rays of color, how they make me feel. They're so different. They affect different parts of me. So it's looking at fixed states of being, and that is applicable, like you have your beliefs, you have your principles, you have your values. And obviously those are open to, we're flexible, but we also know ourselves and know what's appropriate for us, right? And so that's where we could be fixed. That's like your foundation of I am who I am. And then there's the flowing or the waveform of energy, and so this goes to the observer effect in quantum physics. It's the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, also called the observer effect. And I think I want to say it was the 20s, but I'm not good with numbers like that, so don't quote me. But they did an experiment where they're going to look at the particles of creation of matter, and every scientist had a different idea. And the one that said it was going to be a particle saw particles. The one that said it was going to be a wave saw waves. So it's all up to us. And that can feel like an enormous amount of responsibility. Then that brings up our trust. Do we trust ourselves? Yeah, well, we came here, so we have to look at the facts. Make sure you look at the facts too. I came here with this for this. This is my time to shine. Okay, yeah, we may have some apprehensions. That's all right. Let's soothe those, And so just keep going around the circle to bring in the full picture. Okay, now the codes of the waveform. This was such a cool metaphor for us. So if you imagine the ocean, that's already looking at like what Rumi would talk about being the drop of the ocean, and the ocean too. And that's very Aquarian. I'm the droplet, I am my own unique expression, and I'm also part of this. So we have this stillness of the water, and that can be a couple things. That could be, depending on the level of consciousness, it can be a stagnancy, where it's too still and it becomes brackish water. So you'll see that in little ponds and things like that, out in the forest. But with the ocean, we're coming at the consciousness and the waveforms that start to stimulate the awakening. So someone could just be humming along right now. You're going to start to see a lot of the normies, if you will, people that were not super sensitive to the impulses of the awakening. They're going to get shocked now. So we're going to be stepping up into our service, all of us, however that means, to be a leader of love. But people are going to be jolted with this Uranian energy of, oh my God, this isn't working anymore. And it can be a lot for them. So they could go from no movement, stillness, thinking, everything's honky dory. This is reality, And then it's like, whoa, like I just lost my job. I was there 30 years. I no longer have my pension. Like these kinds of things that just can like really shock someone into, what am I going to do? And it's part of our role to assist them to gently see that, oh, well, maybe now you can finally open that art studio you always wanted to do, things like that, right? So we go from no movement to some movement, and just that little bit can be a lot for somebody. And then as we're spending more time on this consciousness journey and we're not as terrified of change, of movement, we're starting to be able to get more of a grip with our programming, balancing it with more love. All of a sudden there's a flip in the light quotient where we start to trust ourselves more. And it goes from being scary to surfing or a thrill ride or a magic carpet ride. It goes from being scary and challenging everything and triggering everything and putting you in deeper into spiral of victim consciousness. And then you emerge from that as part of that Pluto Phoenix energy to, wait a minute, this is the grandest adventure someone could ever want. And I came here as a creator being to play with this. And we're hearing Abraham Hicks, she says, you're the molders of the clay. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's time to come together and create and enjoy that spark of creativity. And one of my teachers back in the day, she said, your creativity is your divinity. However that comes through artistically or innovating new systems, new genius systems. There's so many amazing ways to show up that will tickle you into such bliss and fun. So then all of a sudden we become this cresting wave. We're starting to gather momentum. And it's like, whoa, and that's new too, right? It's like, oh my God, I'm starting to feel my power. This is exciting. Oh, and it may cause some ripples, with shifts as you're stepping into yourself more. Sometimes people that want to stay in the stillness, they don't want any movement, and you're creating choppy waters, and there may be some splits with that, or you may continue to lead them in this path. It's up to you. It's very individualized. But then that cresting wave is going bigger and bigger and bigger, and we're feeling this joy and this expansion. And then it crashes, and we are humbled, not in a cruel way, but ready for the next one. And you may need to spend some time in stillness and then start the movement and then building up the momentum and the power and the beautiful manifestation and then the next. So it's showing us this infinite process of creation, and it's a threefold, it's a trinity process, right? So it's creation and sustaining and nurturing or building the creation. And also, you could say death, that's a harsh way, but it's just the recycle of the energy. Where does it no longer serve evolution? So we're going to let that piece go because that's actually detracting from the mission or the goal or however. It's the weak link. We're going to let that go. Thank you. This was great. It took us this far. This is the farthest we can go. So there's evolution with that. And it's kind of showing you, energy is neither created or destroyed, right? It's just always shifting, always shifting. And so with that, we want to share applying energy and learning to follow the energy in your life and in your business. So I'm part of this is brand new. We're launching it. We're very excited. It's Everything is Sacred, a private community of way showers on Mighty Networks. And in the foundational pieces of it, we were coming together, myself and the core founders and visionaries. And okay, what do you think of this? Like, how does that feel like? Oh, should it just be for women? Should it be for everyone? We're looking at all the pieces and everyone is coming up, stepping up and putting their 2 cents in the pot of like, well, I think, I really feel this about it. Okay, cool. We'll take note. I really feel this. Okay, all right. So there's this putting in of all the pieces of how you feel about it and letting it become the soup. Let the soup, it's like a Instapot, set it and forget it, crock pot. And then you'll know when it's time to come back, and then you have the formed next step. And so I hope that makes sense. It's evaluating the energy. And when you're making decisions, you're going to feel like, that feels like a no somehow in my body. That feels like a yes. Sometimes a way to delineate whether it's a yay or a nay is the energy. So sometimes if something is a no, it feels closed. It feels done. It feels like it's stopped. It's a dead end. It can't go anywhere. You're like, I can't, I just can't go any further with this. And then the yes will feel like, ooh, gosh, that energizes me so much. I feel like that just put me on a thing. I could roll with that and, get creative for 2 days straight. I'm so energized. So you find and see what works. Excuse me. Another way of working with the energy, this is a really nice imagination exercise, is let's say you're presented with 3 choices right now. Door number 1. So you want to play with your imagination and the energy body. So you close your eyes, you imagine door number 1, you go through, well, I don't know. I guess maybe it doesn't feel horrible. I'm not super clear. Okay, we'll put that down. Door number 2. Oh God, no, that just, no, I don't belong there. I don't belong there anymore. It's just too constrictive. I can't even breathe. Ugh. Okay, well, that's clear. Door number 3. Ooh, wow, I feel really alive. I've never felt that before. I feel really inspired. I feel seen. Wow, that feels so nurturing. That's definitely a yes. Okay, now let's go back to door number 1. There are things about it I really dig, and I'm just not sure yet. So I'm going to put it down because I don't have a clear read. I'm going to put it down. So you can set it and forget it too, and the answer will come back, right? So play with your imagination, actually go through the situations in your mind and start to get a read. And that will assist you. And it's all heart-based. What does your heart say about it? Okay, so then that kind of brings us into the planets a little bit here. And so I'm going to talk briefly about them because there's just so darn much. Oh my gosh. And I don't want everyone to feel fried. I want us to have plenty of time to connect. But I encourage you, if you haven't, take advantage of the ebook, The True North Compass, because there are 5 systems in there, wonderful systems, and I try to make it as easy as possible, and it's all free resources. You just got to do the legwork to really start to play around with your Western zodiac chart and just get familiar with the basics of your 5 personal planets. All of the planets have a higher octave, a lower octave, things that they're here to teach us. They are all ruled by different elements. So you start to also look at yourself as an elemental being, which can really assist you in balancing yourself out. But for the sake of today, we'll keep it just with Pluto and Saturn and Uranus. So Pluto is the incredible atomic potential we have of the heart's magnetics to receive realities, to manifest, to create, to shine. But to get there, we have to go through everywhere we lied or deceived ourselves or believed the lies and gave power away, and also repressed emotions. Pluto deals with a lot of our psychological deficiencies. So some of the things like Pluto is like your fears, like, oh, I have this weird fear of, like as an example, I think of like Indiana Jones. He's like, oh, I hate snakes. Well, maybe in a past life he had a thing with a snake. So Pluto is fear, where we gave our power away. And you want to see what house it's in. So I'll share. Pluto is in the sign of Scorpio in my 4th house in my chart. The 4th house is your birth family. So it's a pretty traumatic childhood, black sheep feelings, darker things. And in later life, because it's opposite my sun, I have to consistently come back to this programming when I have a fear for my family and their safety, or my daughter's safety right now with all the things going on in the systems as they're collapsing. It's a huge initiation for me to acknowledge where I have fear for the safety and well-being of my family and where that's a delusion, right? And so so it's delusions too. Where do you give your power away to a story or a belief that you made up? When you are really raw and real with yourself, and again, looking at your Pluto, use the Pluto Masterclass, that Phoenix Masterclass. It will assist you to see, wow, now that I'm taking my power back, I'm loving myself, I'm witnessing myself, I'm not neglecting or abandoning myself through these crises, these programs. All of a sudden I feel a lot more powerful, and it's in a really beautiful and radiant way and a magnetic way. So it goes from, it's almost like a kryptonite kind of idea. Pluto goes from your Achilles heel in the subconscious to your atomic power as a light being to live your divine destiny. And all of a sudden you're partnering with Pluto. And so it's deep shamanic teaching kind of stuff. And I have a lot of resources on my YouTube channel for the shamanic kind of work with Pluto. But it's a lot of death and rebirth cycle energies. And so Pluto is here in Aquarius to assist humanity with coming into their power. Because for a couple hundred years, we've given all of our power over and, been told when to eat, when to sleep, when to go to work. I mean, every part of our lives has been controlled and regimented. And so now when you think about Pluto in 0 degrees of Aquarius, it's almost like, wow, we're riding off the rails because there's so much potential for freedom. And that's where the tree that and those kinds of grounding practices and also the Tai Chi Gong are critical because you want to be spiritually grounded for these times. Not too porous, right? Not too stiff. It's like middle path all the way. And we're constantly learning what that means every day. So that's a little bit about Pluto. It's essentially your soul evolution process. Saturn is very interesting. It's kind of like hard knocks sometimes, tough love sometimes feels like. When we're in our victim consciousness, it feels like, God, I can't get anything the way that I would like. I just keep getting no's. It's like, oh, I feel like I'm working against myself. Saturn's the one that's going to tell you no or not right now. And in our smaller human, we look at it like, oh my God, I just want it this way. Like, come on, don't you just give me a freaking bone here? It's like those kinds of phases of expansion. But really, Saturn is assisting us because it has a larger view. It's also divine time. It can see like, well, you're not ready for that yet. I'm going to give it to you the way that you see yourself in the most beautiful way and beyond what you can see right now. That's why it's not right now. So then you learn to no longer feel victimized by Saturn and to work with Saturn. There's also the rings of Saturn. You can use them in cord cutting. Those blades spin through, and you think about the when they cut the wheat, they're cutting the fields with those old school looking curved blades, right? So it's helping you to cut away anything that's not authentically yourself or aligned with your divinity. So it's a very interesting energy, and it's an ancient earth energy, and it's your inner wise one. And sometimes, the ego will throw a tantrum with this energy because it is very, sometimes feels like we're under its thumb. But if we start to soften and sit with it as an elder, right, and it has a female aspect, a male aspect within you. So look at your inner wizard, your inner priest, witch, wise one, also a child form. So you see your inner wise one, you have an elder form of this with Saturn and also an inner child. So sit with them. But it's all about divine timing, commitment, building the frameworks. So for instance, okay, so I'm committed to loving myself. Like, what does that mean? Well, not only am I going to have positive self-talk and encourage myself and be my biggest champion and my best friend in relationships and how I speak about myself or share, how I present myself, how I communicate, but also making sure that I take care of myself with self-care, that I'm eating well. If I need space to be by myself, I'll just tell people, oh, I'm going to need a little space. I'll see you in a little while. And I do that with business, do with everything. Whatever's coming up, I honor it. I don't worry about time anymore or obligations. I trust that I will meet all of my obligations and I will fulfill my roles to everyone. So it's big trust pieces and doing what you're shown to do. So healthy regimen, right? Healthy eating and exercising, or just getting out for a walk if that's your exercise, the Tai Chi Gong. So there's some spiritual discipline with this as well. There's a maturity aspect that comes. We start to come into our old soul self, our divinity self. And when we come in with that way, Saturn starts to become wonderful to work with. But until then, it can be very challenging to our psyche when we're coming from the smaller, separated self. That's the point. It's trying to help push us out of that thinking, out of that. They say, what do they say? Create the new mentality, right? To build your reality. So everything we have right now can change like that. That's the thing they want us to remember. The energy is fast. The shifts are fast. Anything can turn on a dime. So if you made a mistake yesterday, no worries. Yesterday's over. Today, resolve to do better or to be more aware or to not do that again. It's over. So you see how quick, you can so use Saturn's blade to say, okay, next, I'm done. All right. And that brings us now into Uranus, where things can shift on a dime, 0 to 90 out of nowhere, miracles, manifestations, incredible divine inspirations and revelations. You can start channeling stuff. Also a lot of electricity in the body, the light body stuff. So it's really fun to see how these energies come through the various collectives of consciousness. On a more, I don't know how to say it, like lower frequency. Oh, I hate using those words, but different level of consciousness. A lot was going on with Uranus when they created the atomic bomb, explosions. So it could be an explosion of creation or an explosion of destruction. So there's a lot of powerful God force, and you see in that way it was distorted because what was that? That was for destruction. That's kind of, that's not something that I think the heavenly hosts would do, is create something with atomic energy, Pluto, for destruction or to control people. So that's an old paradigm way. But it's just the most incredible divine insight. And so we have an amazing opportunity today to start to look at the callings of the heart, and really we're at the crossroads. That's why we were guided to say, okay, we're going to talk about the crossroads because you will be presented with choice points. And so we have Pluto in Aquarius just starting, and it's at 0 degrees right now. And Pluto, because it's an outer planet, it's the farthest away. It moves slow, very slow. But we're going to have 9 months of this. Now, how interesting. Thank God. So you see how divine source orchestrates the entire thing. Because we're getting ready for 24 years of this, but we're going to have a 9-month rebirth phase of meeting ourselves in this energy for the first time in our lives, really embracing seeing who we are. So we get a 9-month gestation cycle of ourselves with this new energy. And then it's very interesting, early September, so it's about, I think it's about 6 weeks, early September, Pluto goes back one more time into Capricorn. So it's like it's going back one more time for one final scraping out of where those old paradigm structures, rules, all these things, are within you. And also reassess the decisions, the creations, and where you are 9 months from now. Very fascinating. So the fall, autumn time is going to be very powerful for another death rebirth cycle, another cleanse, another purge, another surrendering, of more pieces that don't fit in the evolutionary process as we gain more clarity and expand our sense of being of ourself, which actually simplifies greatly, right? In our divinity. Very fascinating. And then Pluto goes into Aquarius for 24 years. So pretty amazing. It's going to be amazing. We're going to see a lot of amazing things there. So trying to think of anything else with Uranus. I feel like those are pretty good codes to start with because they're so big. But the True North Compass book, not only do we go into the Western zodiac, but the human design and your numerology and also your Mayan galactic signature and the cards of destiny. So the original tarot cards were actually playing cards. That's why we have those elements, spades and so on in the playing cards from France. And it actually started in Italy and then France. And then it evolved into tarot as more of a using almost like, using the symbolism and the imagery and the different, as it evolved to assist the mind to see, using it as a divinatory tool. But to see your cards, of destiny is really cool. And so then you start to see, oh my goodness. So I came in with my divine blueprint. I've always had some feelings about it, some passions, some desires. I never indulged them. And here, these 5 systems are also showing me, yeah, you're right. That's who you are. Yep. It's time. Hop to it. And you're like, oh my God, what a wonderful confirmation. And so that's why I made that book, because I went through it so many times where it's like, no, you're delusional. Like you're not doing that. And no way. There's no way in hell you'd come to do that, And so you have to, it's part of the deprogramming. So that book will assist you greatly. Also the courses with this. The bonuses here. Okay, so now we'll go into keeping up with the new energy. So it's all about energy. With this, this is another little piece of Uranus, and this is Aquarius, because Aquarius is made up of Saturn and Uranus. There's a lot of breakdown, breakthrough. And so one of my teachers used to say, oh, you're on the verge of a nervous breakthrough. So it's where there's some intense, you're witnessing and maybe you're upset, like, oh man, this isn't working. This sucks. And so there could be today, even you may see like, oh, wow, that just doesn't fit anymore. So I know these words sound strong. They feel strong, break down to break through. But really, it's about clarity of, oh, wow, what if I look at the picture of my life in totality here from a holistic standpoint, what is aligned, what isn't? And when you put down what isn't and surrender your attachments to it, let go, because it's not part of evolution anymore. That's one of the gifts of Aquarius, because it's a lot less emotional. And so you want to find that balance of make it work for you. So where you would be overly emotional or attached or giving too much imbalance, it can really help you to just cut that off. But then you want to make sure that you're not completely in the mind, going into more of the, if you want to say, distorted Atlantean timelines of that ego, and the distortion of power, distortion of science. That's where we want to balance it with the heart. So you're, again, all about that figure 8. We're constantly finding ourselves in the middle of perceiving and using our minds and, right, making sure that we're heart-centered over everything in order to be most aligned with our authentic truth. But keeping up with the energy here. So fast-moving photonic light and solar cycle maximum is coming. We haven't seen anything yet. We're in cycle 25. If you haven't done any of my solar classes with the solar rishi, they're really great. They're really fun. Or remembering solaria, it's about activating our solar codons. We're all here for this increased photonic light experience. And it's going to have some pretty unpredictable effects on our energy levels. So there's going to be huge lifestyle shifts and starting to trust the energy. So it's huge trust and faith, more than we've ever been presented in our lives. But the more we trust, and so when you get freaked out by this shift or what's changing, then you bring in the self-soothing. But the deeper that you can trust your light body and your heart and what you're being asked to do or not do, say or not say, the more you can surrender into that because it feels gentle and nice and not so much what's coming up in the mind or the body, the happier you're going to be. It's about going downstream. So you think about that beautiful song, Life is but a dream, right? Merrily, merrily, merrily down the stream. So these little sweet nursery rhyme songs are very supportive of the very basic pure energetics that are here for us. So when we're in this process and we're kind of like in that storm, remember, oh, I'm supposed to be going downhill. I love it. Abraham Hicks says, make sure you're not canoeing up the river. Like, who the hell wants to do that, you know? And all of a sudden you're like, how did I get here? How did I turn my canoe? Or I don't know, but I'm just going to turn it back around. I don't have to, you know? So just be playful, have fun. But this is an immense impact, you know, be real with you about our livelihood, our lifestyle, our energy levels, our energy fields. And so you start to look at yourself as emotional being, energetic being, a thinking and perceiving being, right? There's a pain body too. Eckhart Tolle has wonderful work on describing and helping us to assist to see through the pain body. So we're not living from that lens of pain. That's where narcissism comes in. We're living in that loop unconsciously, right? We're going to see a lot of people in that place. We are here to assist them just with kindness. So the be like the tree will assist if you ever have physical discomfort and you do feel like a little gentle movement, the Tai Chi Gong is amazing. And I'll include the link for that in the chat soon when we get into that. It's free to learn these exercises. They're very gentle. It's all about breath and energy and connecting to the elements, you know, taking in the energy of the clouds, the trees, the flowing water. And that's what all the ancient ones did because it helps them to slow down and to be present with the building blocks of creation. Because next week we have the Lunar New Year and it begins the new Chinese astrological year of the dragon, which is very exciting. And it's a wood dragon, thank goodness. But the energy of the dragon is still very fiery. That is fast moving. And then we have the solar energy is going to continue to ramp up. So 2025 and 2026 are going to be the peaks of this solar cycle 25. So we're still preparing, but there is momentum happening. Thank God the way universe designs everything is quite compassionate for us. So while we're thrown in now, it's not as bad as it could be, you know, there's a lot of compassion here for us, but the energy is going to be moving so quick and you're going to see that. You're going to see that in technology, you know, innovation. The energy is so fast that if you don't know how to be in your center and in your own sovereign space, you get swept up. The next thing you know, you're like, oh my God, how did I get there? Right? So this is very important for our sovereignty to connect with your home frequency. So you don't just get swept up, you know, because we are part of the ocean too, right? It's the drop in the ocean. So make sure the currents are serving you. The body of water you're in is for you. You belong there. It's part of that belonging because it accelerates aging. They're even talking about it. I don't know if you've seen these. This is incredible. These articles coming out, they're like, how come Gen Z looks older than the millennials? I'm like, oh, I don't know, maybe because they live on technology and an artificial construct with no life force coming in and it's fast moving, it's fast, it's stimulation, it's information, it's nonstop. They're plugged in and they're not grounding, they're not receiving anything, they're aging rapidly. So we have to know how to enjoy the vessel and slow down and not be in the mind only because the mind is fast, you know, it's quicksilver, it wears you out, it's exhausting. So the learning to work, breathe energy, feel energy, feed your light body. Something as simple as the sun sparkling on the ocean water, right? Or the babbling brook water. Oh, there's light body nutrition right there. So it's really slowing down with the breath. Self-care. So self-care means to rebuild our light. And thus, that's also increasing our frequency and our magnetism as divinity in action. And so many things feed your light. Random acts of kindness, laughing really hard. My new era resolution is I'm going to laugh more this Gregorian year than I've ever laughed in my life because it makes me feel so good. I love laughing. And I was such a fuddy-duddy in the old paradigm with so much Capricorn energy, which made me a hard worker and gave me a lot of gifts, but I didn't have any space for fun. I didn't think fun was productive or that I was allowed. Oh my God, so really, bringing in this multidimensional experience, baths, getting a massage, doing the Tai Chi Gong, just doing nothing but laying on your back in the grass and watching the clouds. I call it Sky TV. So it can feel very indulgent at first, to how we have been programmed to be dutiful, right? And to put everything before ourselves. So now you see how that's the opposite. It's all about building it from the inside out, and everything will come. If you build it, they will come, right? Very interesting. So we're flipping everything as an internal reference to create the structures within ourselves in love and divinity, and watch it all miraculously unfolds before you. And this is all, the development of this depth is I've been gifted with this information working with Lisa Transcendence Brown. If you all are looking for community, her community, is opening up. So you can go to her website, awakeningtoremembering.com, and sign on, put yourself on the waiting list. You can say, oh, I was with Marissa in class and she let me know. Okay, soul family gets priority. She's here. She's in her own universe. So she's showing us, and then we're helping to, to disseminate what we're discovering as we apply her teachings. So let's see. Yeah, finding out what nourishes your light. Making sure you have maybe beautiful flowers. Like I love having orchids, inside. Where I am now in the Pacific Northwest, this is the most north I've ever lived in my life. I'm originally from Hawaii, so I like bright colors and lush, flowers and all of that. So it's like these little touches that really can bring a beauty into your space. That's a huge part of nourishing ourselves energetically, is bringing beauty in and going out in nature and enjoying also things like painting, working with color. Art for art's sake, creativity, movement and dance. Yesterday we received, because we're going through another wonderful deep program, another deep core belief with Pluto just scraping us out. And it was gnarly, but great, because you know what it means. If it's gnarly, you know how much light you're going to receive on the other side, how much inspiration, creative energy you're going to receive on the other side. So now you dive into the challenge, if you will. So yeah, show me, let's go, let's do it. But my universe was like, go on the swing over here. You need to move your body differently right now for this. I was like, oh, okay. And so I went and I just sat on the swing, and it was this gentle rocking. And I realized, oh, I needed that. I'm too big, for my mom to hold me and rock me. You know what I mean? But I'm here on that swing and just this gentle movement, this gentle rocking. And I just sat there. I'm in the forest, and I just invited Divine Mother to put her arms around me so that I would feel her. And then I walked and I did more clearing, crying, processing, calling it out, transcending. And then they said, now go back to the swing again to end. Okay. So, even if it's something as like being a little kid again, being silly and going on a teeter-totter, or just swinging ever so gently on a swing, you don't even really have to do anything rigorous. It's just orienting your body to different movements. It's very powerful for unlocking and liberating. Another one, like moving in spirals, allowing your body to do these weird things like spontaneous kriya. Let your body be free. Start to explore your body as an elemental, because it has its own wisdom and language too. So don't be like me and have to be in excruciating pain and just ignore that, being very cerebral and disconnected, not embodied, to then, oh, okay, we got to take care of this, right? And so that's what I'm working through too these last few years. That's why I'm so passionate about embodiment, because I really was locked in my head in this little cube for a very long time, like almost 30 years in there. So many of us have spent a lot of time there. So be compassionate to yourself and make it fun, and look at this all as in a completely new experience. We don't know anything except for what we do know, and we know who we are, which is a being of love, right? And we have some ideas of why we came, and we know there's going to be more that we're going to learn about that are going to be so awesome. So awesome. And if we just remember every day, the universe and the divine is doing all of this for me. It's happening through me, not to me. So we're taking ourselves constantly remembering, we're not separate. We're not victims, right? Just reorienting, because we're building these new patterns in the neurology. It takes repetition, consistent application, but it's day by day, breath by breath. heartbeat by heartbeat. So with that, I think we have a decent amount of time for questions, which is great. And we can go over. I don't care. I'm here for you. So I'm going to, if you want to put anything in the chat, you're welcome to do that. Or raise your hand and we'll go. And I see something in the chat, so let's see if this is for us here. Oh, 222. Thanks, Patty. Yeah, Patty is helping us with the codes there. It's awesome. Wow. Yeah, so if anyone wants to raise their hand, I'm gonna see if I can see everybody. Or you can unmute too and just pop on and it should go to you. Or you type in the chat, whatever you're comfortable with. But basically, if you have any questions on how to apply this, or you're going through something right now and you want to know how to apply this, or you're having revelation in your own journey and it's like you're trying to reconcile the realities, because there may be experiences where you have a foot between both for a minute here, as we're going from the old paradigm and we're just diving into the new one, and we've been thrust into it. But we still have vestiges, echoes of the old structures, right? So it's a process. We got a great group.
Hi.
Hi.
So I was just going through my notes really quick because I was like, I know I had some questions, but my brain just like went blank.
Okay, no worries.
But I was curious because when you were talking about like the waves and whatnot, and it's that we can read vibrations. Now, is this more like, are you talking more of like the clairsentience? We can feel the vibrations, we can tell the energy is off, or are we talking about like actually seeing the energy? Because just in the last few months, well, a lot has happened for me in the last few weeks, but just in the last few months, I started seeing energy. So I was just kind of curious if that was like the same.
I love your question, and thank you for clarifying that for everyone here, and for everyone here, and all of the above. All of the above. Yes. Thank you.
And then my other one, so I'm a Scorpio.
Yay!
So
Hello!
we're like
I love you. I love
Pluto, you know what I mean? We're like all in it. And it's so crazy because I've always connected myself with the Phoenix because I went through some, I went through some things throughout my life and burned everything down. So, but I'm, better than ever now. And so I was just curious because I heard you say something about Pluto Phoenix.
Yes. So part of this class you actually there's a bonus, and it's a whole masterclass about Pluto. And so, yeah, Pluto is the Phoenix energy. It's the Tower card in the Tarot, too, if you think of that symbol, where you have a program, a situation, whatever it is, whatever the piece is. And it's like, and it could be all of our life as we're thrust into more of the advanced levels of the awakening now. Universe is like, you're ready. I don't care if you think you are. I'm pushing you out of the nest, and you're going to realize you are going to float. You're going to be okay. And it's like, oh my God. And so it feels like everything is being destroyed. And that's the Tower moment. But out of the rubble comes the Phoenix with that higher perspective, that higher self-knowing of who I am, my power. So it starts as like survivor, right? I overcame these things, and then it evolves to I'm a creator being, right? Yeah. So it's like our capability. So it's building your light quotient.
And you said that it comes with this, awesome. I can't wait to check that out. Then sorry, I hope I'm not taking anybody else's time, but I did have one last one, and I was trying to think of how to put it into a question, really. So I did these few tests about like my chakras being blocked or whatnot, and like I said, in the last 3-4 weeks, I've been having some extremely just out there experiences, visualizing, and I never was really good at that, but and it's almost like I feel it, I hear without hearing. It's really a lot. But we were looking, and about a year ago, I used to get up in the morning and work completely with each chakra, go all the way up and have my breathing. We just, I also run my boyfriend's business, all computer, phone, paperwork side, everything. And so, trying to find the time to fit those things in. And, I like kind of jumped around, like I do tarot cards, and I have a gazillion crystals. And my boyfriend built a room for me for that. And I felt like I was grounded, and I felt like I was balanced, and I felt like I was starting to open up here. Well, more in the last month, I would say, everything that I'm being told is that my heart is open, the chakras open, the throat is starting to open a lot more. My third eye and my crown were just kind of lit up, but my lower chakras weren't. And I still have a hard time with it. So I'm like, you're like floating, you're having all these experiences, you're seeing all this stuff, you're feeling all this stuff. And it's amazing. It's incredible. I love it. I love this journey. But yeah, I'm just kind of curious about that, or if you have any suggestions. I know the thing we did when we first came in, um, I might need to take that and maybe like make it a little bit longer or something, because I was having a hard time even with that. So yeah, that's my whole question there.
So what's really interesting is you'll find as we continue on that there are more pieces coming out of all of the chakras, and there's more and more templates of layers of all of them. And so what I've been discovering is that the more we integrate the heart, there's going to be some heart stuff, and then you're going to see, oh my gosh, that's connected to some root stuff. So then you want to do it's a vertical figure eight where you're making a golden figure eight and you're weaving. So weave the heart with the root, bringing that divine into there, into comforting that and seeing what's present, and then doing it with the sacral one, and then doing it with the solar plexus. And don't forget the womb work. And so I run my mystery school, I do oracle training, and it's important that we go through and divinitize those three first, because that's basically first life. First
Mhm.
life, our first human life is those first three chakras. And so you want to just love and give so much compassion and tenderness to those first three so that they
Right.
feel really good and relaxed and soft, right? And there's
Mm.
no distortion there. And then actually, when we do the oracle work, we actually close those up and then open all the others so you become a wine glass. So that you're receiving divine information that's free from your own individualized aspect, right? So you really are in that quantum state of with source consciousness, if you will. So it's twofold, it's like you want to continue to work with the rainbow, work with the colors, right? But really bringing that heart light and revelation and that love into each of those pieces. I'm loving myself into security. I'm loving myself into emotional freedom. I'm loving myself radically into pure empowerment, right? So you're just,
Right.
and just continue to apply, right? Rinse and repeat, with the water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, it's definitely, I could already feel the shift, as far as like at least my solar plexus, because getting that kind of fire back,
Oh, yeah.
and some projects that I'm working on as well. So I definitely was kind of feeling that bit of the shift. But yeah, I'll have to try that. And um, I forgot what else I was gonna say. But yeah, because it's like I feel like I've been open to all this, and I've been getting messages all over the place.
Yeah.
So
Beautiful.
yeah, so just kind of being able to ground again. And then so you said you close them up afterwards. So
When you're
you
going,
like,
yeah, when you're going into an oracle session, you like to serve
mhm,
and to receive information, then you close the first three. You lock them down so that
mm,
it's influencing. So you're going to notice, like, it's a pet peeve of mine personally, is there's a lot of people out there that say, I'm a remote viewer, I'm an oracle, and this and that. But if you notice, the stuff they're saying is very distorted and it's painted with their own personal process. It's not from source, for the collectives. There's a difference. You can tell when it's a little bit, I don't want to say stained, but there's a little bit of a coloration that's their own stuff. It's really important. But with what you're sharing, what I get right now is you're sharing how much you're receiving, and it's so amazing. And the insight, if this resonates, is apply that to yourself. Apply that wisdom and information to yourself. Test your
Mm.
on you on those first three chakras, because it's a whole rebirth. You're going to get a whole new set, and we keep getting more and more sets all the time. So if that assists, yeah, and that will help you to with those first three because you're building your new foundation.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and then another is very powerful to work with a candle. So just light one candle, one flame, and call on the sacred Agni. Agni is the Vedic name. It's a solar energy and a sacred holy fire energy, and you can call on it to assist you with purifying your field, your mind. I'll say, please assist me with my words, with my tongue, because I have a lot of Aries. So I have to be so conscientious. I have to do a lot of working with water to temper the fire so that my tongue isn't like cutting people, with harshness. It's a huge thing. My whole life I've had to work on this. And so, asking the sacred fires to assist, to bless, to energize, clear, surrendering. You could have a 5-minute process, this beautiful ritual every morning before everything. You take 5 minutes, you say, okay, what's present for me? Why I'm feeling, a little nervousness about this, or I'm a little agitated about this, but it's all good. It's okay to feel these things, but I'm going to surrender them and make space to feel and receive solution, SOUL, lution, right? And insight and so on, right? Or sometimes it's just emptying ourselves so that we can then become that vessel, that chalice to receive more perhaps later in the day or a week later. It takes what it takes, right? Because the energy has to be digested through for us to then get a concept of what is this, and put it into words. So it's a process. But the thing is to just have fun and no pressure. Take all the pressure off. That doesn't exist anymore. Let Pluto give us the pressure, the evolutionary pressure. We don't need to put any more on ourselves. There's already enough out there. Yeah.
What did you say the name was again? I was starting to write it and
It's, yeah, Agni, Agni, Agni.
okay.
Yeah, it's the fire that rules all of creation. So it's solar fire, it's the soul, it's digestive fire, which is our physical digestion, right? Of breaking things down, and also our psychic digestion. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's something, another thing to really open up that I was having problems with those because I've had a lot of digestion problems and pain and whatnot. So yeah, that makes sense.
Mhm.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much. I love your waterfall too. Thank you. All right. Let's see. Be lately, real life stuff has got to get done. Yes, yes. I hear you so much on this, Zara. I hear you so much on this. So, Zara is sharing about trying to find that balance between being and going through the experience and accomplishing everything. I cannot tell you how many breakdowns I've had over this process. I've had, like kind of tantrum screaming matches with my universe. Like, are you kidding me? Like, you're giving me all of this stuff and I need to show up as this, I need to show up as that. I have all these things to take care of. I would share, when we're feeling like it's so challenging to keep up with everything, that's when you want to do a little something that's self soothing first, soothe yourself out of the spinning. And then you want to see where we have a lack of trust or faith in this. Because remember that our consciousness thinks, oh my God, this is so huge. How am I going to deal with this? This feels like it's going to take all day. But that's only a perception. So the more we can surrender and say, okay, this is what is here now. I will affirm that I have the time and space to deal with this right now and let it happen. And you may find that you only needed 2 minutes for that. Sometimes when we're a family, we're parents, right? You have to go pick up your child from school and it doesn't matter that you're in the middle of it. But most of the time, if you start to really open up and ask your universe, say, look, I'm here for it. I'm here full on. I want to do this. I know you're helping me. Help me make it work for my life. And it will start to happen more and more and more, where you're going to find less situations where you feel like you have to choose between your ascension process and fulfilling all of your roles. So we're starting to dissolve the walls of separation because we realize this is who I am. This is me being in my experience as part of this ascension experience. And I'm also a mother and all these things and showing up for others, all these things. Oh my gosh. And so you start to just trust that it will all gel and it will. Hopefully that helps. Mm, mm. Yeah, and and it doesn't matter who's not supporting our highest good. I say F them. We don't need to give them any attention anymore. Don't give any power over to any of these. There's a lot of evil out there, but they have a multi-billion-dollar marketing to help us be afraid, and so they can keep feeding on our energy. So I refuse. I'm like, nope, I'm sovereign. You're not getting any of this. Source didn't say you could do any of this. Your time is up. Bye-bye. We're building new earth later. Like I have like huge boundaries when it comes to any of the old paradigm, like the control crap. It's like, yeah, okay, I'm just gonna go through candle ritual, very helpful. Heart aligning, free will of others. That's interesting, Jane. Yeah, ask your universe to show you because ask your universe to show you some clarifying information on that. Jane is sharing a wonderful comment here about living her life and also honoring the free will of others. And so, yeah, watch those boundaries there. Um, ask for clarity and insight. Yeah, Zara, that's awesome. Oh, Tai Chi Gong. Thank you. Yes, yes. I will, where can I find that link the fastest for you all? Hold on one second. Let me minus my screen, and I think I have it here. Here we go. Thank you for reminding me. I always really need assistance with reminders because we have so many moving parts here. So here's the Tai Chi Gong in the chat. This is with Master Lama Rasaji, Circle of Chi. I've been doing it 3 years now. And this is it's a free, membership to sign up and learn the exercises. And they're on video. They're wonderful. You do it anytime. It's all on demand. And there's a seated one that you can do. So let's say you have, a family member who can't stand up right now. They're building their strength, whatever it is, right? Their healing journey, they're whatever, in recovery from something. Maybe they lost a lot of strength, So these are wonderful because you can do them also. There's a version, it's called the Emperor's Choice. And these are connected to the lineage of Baba Ji and Jesus Christ, Sananda, and all kinds of wonderful energies. So you'll really enjoy. You feel like you're in the temple with the masters, and you can connect with that too. But it's all about opening the heart first. You start with your heart energy and connecting with that, and then you're actually weaving. You're working with the figure 8 through a lot of it, which I love. It's really powerful to move your body in these shapes because you're repatterning, in that now. And you think about the power of our being is mostly water. So any intention, any re-encoding that you're doing, any affirmation, you can just really start to see like, oh my gosh, yeah, the frequencies are going through me as a crystalline, watery, being and form. If that makes sense. Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah, well, we still have time, y'all. If anyone has any other questions or comments or anything. Yeah. I'll share until I see perhaps some hands, other ways of support. I have a YouTube channel where I give a lot of free content and activations gifted, to support. So I just put out last night. I'm so excited about it. I do a lot of field recording where I live in the Pacific Northwest. Part of why we came here was for the light body, and the physical ascension parts to have that inspiration and the physical energies to support us. So we work with the Emerald Ray and I will film when I'm out there. I got this incredible audio of frogs, and I received this incredible activation with the frogs, and all about surrendering our attachments and stuff, because you know how they have to lose their tails, right? And yeah, just thinking about that, like, yeah, so sometimes it is hard to let go of our attachments. We're literally attached to them, right? But yet, if we don't, it's hindering our evolutionary process. And so that's where you can bring in some of the logic to assist you, that Aquarian energy of discernment to assist you, and the blades of Saturn's rings to just cut away the old, if you will. Let's see, let me check the chat here. Qigong. Oh, the Mirrorverse. Yeah, it's really helpful, isn't it, Liz? If there's one big thing you would recommend we do, what would it be? Love the Emerald Ray. Um, oh, if there's one big thing that I recommend you do is it's take a love bath. The Andromedans at the end of last year, it started coming in August, and then in November, they were like, the best but most direct path to get through the ascension process, no matter what's going on, how gnarly or wonderful, celebrate and bathe yourself in love from source. And I actually have a wonderful activation. It's called the Lightworker Glow Up, a diamond dust. And I walk you through this visualization where you're just seeing like diamond light from source, Christed light just showering. So you want to work with your imagination and feel those energies, and it really assists you to connect to your energy body too, and you feel effervescent, like you really do feel like you're made of champagne or something, like all these little bubbles. It's really fun. So they're great ways to connect, but yeah, definitely taking a love bath in Source's love, because we're learning what the divine love feels like. We're used to human love and earthly love, which really wasn't love a lot of the time, it had distortions or connections or strings and stuff, conditions, and that's very distorted. So feeling the love of source and connecting with the planet, the nature, oh, so powerful for our restoration, so powerful. And let's see, what do you suggest to enable becoming more of an information or content channel? Um, well, you're so welcome, Zara. Thank you. Let's see. The first thing is opening up and declaring to your universe that you're ready as a sovereign, divine sovereign being to start to step into more of your natural gifts to be a divine conduit, a chalice, a channel, and then see what happens after that. You may have fear, you may have memories of persecution. That's what happened to me, is I realized like, oh, I have a knack for this. I've been a soul reader since a kid, but I had to believe in myself first that I really wanted to do that. And then it wasn't so much a want to, but it was also source forcing me to do it. And it's like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to relive this. And they're like, look what you're doing. You're projecting your past life experiences of being, killed. And I'm like, oh, okay. So, there's clearing that you got to do. I do teach that in my mystery school. If you want to do a mastery immersion, I have an 8-week course on that. But that's a great way to start right now. You can do that with yourself, with your soul, your source universe for free, and start exploring. Um, Ask the goddesses to start coming, explore ancient Greece and Dodona, start exploring the different mystery schools, not the Oracle of Delphi. That was male. That was patriarchal. So that's a fallacy. That was not divine feminine oracle. Oh, thank you for sharing the diamond dust. I really appreciate that, Patty. What is the Emerald Covenant? Yeah. So the Emerald Covenant is, so for me, I know we have other light workers that tie that, which is wonderful, and I can see where that comes from. So the Emerald Covenant is, for me, I call it, it's actually, I use it different phrasing to differentiate. What do I call it? It's the Covenant of the Emerald Ray Codex. So I have a whole thing. It's a book I'm working on, but it's part of us agreeing to commit to our sacred roles here with Gaia, as part of the agents of change and evolution and the ascension and unity consciousness. And it's an actual agreement. You go out in nature and do it with her, and you kind of, grasp hands and hearts and sign on the dotted line like, yes, I pledge allegiance to this mission, and full trust and faith that she is going to support you. So that's her agreement of the mission. That's what I received here. And I do activation journeys here. We're going to have some sacred retreats. If you go to my website, we're doing one in the Quinault energies here, because in the Pacific Northwest is the Emerald Ray. But the dragons are very much a part of this. They're here as well to serve in this. But for me, they're two different things. And I do a lot with dragons. That's all on all my work too. And I have the Divine Feminine Circle next Friday. It's every new moon. Well, we do the Rose Circle Lighthouse. We're actually going to talk a lot about the dragons, and Kundalini and Mystery School. Where's a link to my mystery school? If you go to my website, you'll see it. It's easiest, divinednablueprint.com. That's my website, and everything's there. And then the mystery school is on Thinkific, but there's a link there. I'll just try to type this in the chat. It's like trying to think and talk and type at the same time. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be a hyperlink, but let's see if there's, I don't want to miss any other comments in here. Yeah, cool. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, thank you, Tamsin. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. It's just such an incredible time. So please, please have fun and enjoy the resources. And I know now you're saying you can't get them. I'm like, oh my God. So I'll email Tamara right now. And the replay should be in there by early evening as well, wherever you are. And if there's no other questions, I just want to make sure. It's great to see you all. Continue to love yourselves, embrace this, ask what is new here for me. Show me, show me, show me. Surrender and come into that playful place. We're going to start, it's going to be weekly on YouTube for free, and then we're going to have a monthly paid one with live audience participation when we talk about it's the quantum playground. That quantum conversation is up. Partnering with one of my dear soul sisters, Marixa Hathor, and we're talking about bringing that creative inner child piece to start to really enjoy this experience of being creators, because we go through a lot, right, in this ascension process, a lot of clearing. But with that, it's balance, and that's that code of the eight. No matter how intense it could be in a way that we don't love, that's pushing us into evolution for our greatest good, there's also divine potential, magic, miracles, incredible energies to create with and to receive. And I mean, mind blowing, truly mind blowing, the crystalline stuff. So be open to that and just know that your heart is big enough for both. I can clear and process, and I can also see really, myself as this Christed being and feel that support and that loving energy, and that it's all here. It's a 0 point, that totality. Yeah, so I hope you all enjoy, and I really thank you for being here, and I look forward to seeing you. Thank you, Maria. Oh, cool. That sounds exciting, Liz. I'll have to look into that. So much love, Zara. Thank you. Yeah, connecting the mountains over there where everyone is. So I'm in Washington State, so we can just light up. We can connect everybody wherever you are. We will put pillars of light wherever we are and just see the beautiful crystalline grids connecting here. And just trust that you have the support. You have to affirm that, right? The old paradigm is like, oh no, you get money for doing this or that. And it's like, no, you do acts of kindness, you do acts of service, you be a being of love, and you're always supported. You're always going to have exactly what you need all the time. And that's a big one for all of us to deconstruct. It's a big faith piece. It gets a little challenging to our psyche, I should say, to the old. But let those structures collapse and watch what's built in its stead that you build. All right, everybody. Well, sending you so much love. Keep your eyes out for the resources, the replay. I thank you so much. I honor you. Check out the YouTube channel too. There's all kinds of goodies in there for you to play with and have fun for your embodiment process. And namaste. Take good care. Happy Aloha Friday, y'all.